Kia ora, good evening. Foiled and foiled again. Just when you thought it was all over in the shifty wind conditions today, Team New Zealand fell off their foils and Luna Rossa took off, only for the Italians to suffer the same fate.
And then the Kiwis came storming back from what seemed like an impossible position. Tom McRae joins us from the America's Cup Village. And Tom, what a crazy day out on the water.
It was just incredible, Mike. The second race of the day has just finished a couple of minutes ago. And just as the Kiwis looked like they were about to come back for the second time today, they had an absolute catastrophe coming off their foils.
Oh, it's a bad touchdown. Oh, no. Tragedy. Tragedy for Emirates Team New Zealand. They had the race under control. I don't think they were able to get their board out of the water, and they have gone belly down. And Luna Rossa, who was so close to being caught, are now sailing away in race number 8.
At that point, the Italians took control of the race and it looked like a done deal. But in these really light, tricky conditions, you can't predict anything. And then Luna Rossa had their own foil problems.
They are in the water.
Or go around the mark, displacement. Yeah.
They have splashed down. You heard them say it.
Well, Luna Rossa was suddenly going nowhere and the Kiwis coasted home in front. Team New Zealand now lead the series 5 races to 3. But in the day's first race, things clicked earlier on for the Kiwis, and despite losing the start, at last, a team came from behind and the Kiwis were able to hang on to win. It was an attacking start from Peter Burling, but Luna Rossa had more speed off the line.
Protest push by Emirates Team New Zealand.
But the umpires waved it away.
They went for the luff, they couldn't quite pull it off.
The Kiwis kept the hammer down.
Emirates Team New Zealand are trucking.
The most exciting moment of the Cup so far was about to happen. That in a moment. But first, let's backtrack a couple of hours. Even on a Monday, hundreds of spectator boats headed out, and all the support doesn't go unnoticed by the team.
Oh, mate, it's unreal. Like the dock outs, you know, that's really a time where you can soak it in, and then also the tows out to the racecourse and the tows back in amongst all the boats. You know, that's a time that we really just take a good look around and actually enjoy the spectators.
The team has to enjoy it while they can, because from the beginning of the day, they're fully focused.
Just looking forward to getting out there and just sending it.
While the sailors warm up, the shore team have a massive checklist to get Te Hutai race ready, because at the end of each day it's taken out of the water and given a full once over. Under the rules, the teams aren't allowed to make any major changes. So every race day, the AC-75 is basically reassembled, from securing the mast and rigging to very carefully craning it back into the water. Then the dock-out party begins, as the teams and spectator fleet make their way out to the course. And while the tight starts lead to shredded nerves for the fans, the team are much more businesslike.
You're always a little bit more confident when you're on the boat yourself, you know. I think it's always more nerve-wracking watching the racing than actually doing it yourself.
Any Kiwi fan would have to agree with that.
Lead change. Slam dunk.
Today, after 7 races, we finally had a dogfight, and it was the Kiwis who showed they had the most mongrel.
They are sitting on his face like no one has sat on a face before.
Team New Zealand didn't let up, in the end walloping the Italians.
Welcome back to Sport, coming to you from the Auckland Viaduct, which I have to say is absolutely buzzing after a day that saw the 36th edition of the America's Cup really come to life, and it's one that could prove decisive in the battle for the old mug. For the first time, we saw something we haven't seen in this regatta, a lead change, and it was Team New Zealand that took advantage, and the first sign of superiority between two boats that until now have been inseparable. But that was nothing compared to the drama that followed. One of the most remarkable races in the history of the America's Cup that proved one of sport's oldest sayings, never give up. Here's Tom McRae with all the action from an astonishing day on the Hauraki Gulf.
Emirates Team New Zealand cross the line. They have a 5-3 lead.
It was a result that wasn't fathomable a matter of 25 minutes earlier.
Tragedy for Emirates Team New Zealand. They had the race under control.
Team New Zealand's race appeared over after they fell off their foils. It saw Luna Rossa sail to a lead that many thought would be unassailable, but the dying winds had other ideas.
They are in the water.
The Italians then fell off their foils and tried desperately to find enough wind to get back up. All the while, Team New Zealand were sailing again and closing in.
And the lead now is just 750 metres. It was 2 kilometres.
The never say die attitude from the Kiwis saw them take control, but staying on the foils was easier said than done.
Oh, it's tough. It's got tough again.
With only one leg to go, every turn was on a knife edge. But the defenders were able to pull off the remarkable turnaround.
So we made a pretty costly error, jibing right behind them on the first downwind and fell off the foils, but got it back up reasonably quickly.
It showed that there can be passing in this America's Cup, after Team New Zealand rode a wind shift in the earlier race to overtake the Italians onto another win.
That's what we wanted to do, to try and get a break today. The boat's going really nicely.
So, Team New Zealand now 5-3 up and in the box seat to defend the old mug.
Brilliant stuff. So an emphatic morale-boosting day for Team New Zealand, who go back-to-back to take the all-important 5-3 lead. These pictures have just come in of the team returning to base and being welcomed by a sea of fans. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Absolutely wonderful scenes there down at the team base. Well, our very own Tom McRae is right among the supporters who welcome Team New Zealand home, and he joins us now. Tom.
Yeah, Andrew, how's the heart? Because it was absolutely pandemonium here when that race 2 played out. To break it all down for us, I've got our sailing expert, Ken Reid. Ken, in the 6 America's Cups you've covered, have you ever seen anything like that second race?
Drama, suspense, but I think the better word is pure insanity. I've never sailed in one. I've never been, I've never sailed in a race like that before. The people I do the show with, Shirley Robertson out on the water and Freddie Carr up in the air, they started calling it. They said, "Hey, you guys, look out! This could start getting dicey." And frankly, New Zealand, you dodged a couple bullets today. You're behind in the first race, way behind in the second race. My goodness, what a turn of events. Unbelievable.
So we just got lucky, basically, as a Kiwi fan.
I did not say you got lucky. Listen, luck is created, right? Luck is made. In that first race, we saw the speed that was always rumored. That boat was ripping in the first race. There was no holding them back, essentially, in the first race. In the second race, it was different. You know, I think the jib choice was better on the Italian boat. They got themselves out to a bit of a lead. They had a fairly dominant lead at one stage. Kiwis fall off the foils, all of a sudden it's game over, right? None. Not too soon. And hey, this is the modern America's Cup. This is what we came for.
Can't wait for tomorrow. Thank you very much, Ken. Well, you can be sure that there's going to be about 100 times more people down here tomorrow, because if Team New Zealand win the next 2 races, then we will retain the America's Cup, Andrew.
Brilliant stuff.